purposes of this discussion question, I chose an article that I have in my lit review. That was a mixed methods article revolving around two exploratory research questions. How applicable are the Common Core standards to college courses, and when are they perceived as applicable? When they are perceived as applicable, how important are the college standards to college courses? It was an interesting study in that um, it was constructed as part of one large survey that was sent out to over 1,700 participants that had ahead of time volunteered for the survey. Um, the survey construction revolved around a quantitative aspect and a qualitative aspect to the survey questions. That's what makes it a convergent parallel study, in that data was collected simultaneously from a quantitative perspective and a qualitative perspective. From the quantitative perspective, um, professors in different entry-level courses were asked if a broad strand of the Common Core standards was applicable to their course. Once they answered yes, there were related questions on each individual standard within that broad strand of the Common Core state standards. And then they were supposed to rate whether that particular standard was a prerequisite, a component introduced to the course subsequent to a later course, or were not applicable. And then after reviewing all of the Common Core standards, participants were asked 5 qualitative open-ended questions, which were coded into 3 broad categories. And those categories were whether the standards were mismatched with the course, if there was a weakness or deficiency of the standards in relation to their course, or what the strength of the standards were in relation to their course. In reviewing this study again, I feel like it probably would be difficult to use this topic of college readiness and as an action research for several reasons. First of all, it's hard to say that there's a problem existing in practice. I think there's a lot of research out there that would point to there being issues with the Common Core state standard, but how that poses a problem, I'm not sure how one would structure a study around that. Additionally, I think it would be difficult to design a research that would have the data becoming emergent to the Common Core state standards. They've already been released. There is no speculation that they're going to be redesigned or updated anytime soon. And lastly, the co-investigators, it would be difficult to have participants be co-investigators because Common Core state standards have already been designed and released. And so it would be difficult in that regard as well. What I do think would be more applicable to this topic would be to conduct a critical research analysis. First of all, inside of the study, already participants were asked to critique the validity of the Common Core state standards in relation to college readiness and college coursework. So I think there's certainly a critical aspect to this topic already. And then secondly, I think one could extend this research by adjusting the survey so that one could analyze the power relations that might exist in relation to the standards between educators and the public at large, as far as the validity and applicability of the Common Core state standards in relation to college readiness. It would be an interesting study. If I was to conduct a critical analysis from this mode of view, I would have to be considered an insider just because I was a direct participant and leader in the implementation of the Common Core state standards within our school district. And I would have to address reflexivity on a continual basis because of my job and how I go about doing things within my school district if I was to conduct such a study. I have a hard time seeing any component of this topic that would be appropriate for an arts-based approach. I don't see it happening. It would be difficult to design it in this regard.